You ever had one of those days? I just went through one in the space of an hour and a half. Lord, what a moment in my life. But we're here. We are not letting you guys down. There's too much to talk about. And you know what? We're going to get right into it. So with that, hi, how are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. Welcome to the Hump Day session of Chattin on the Porch. A live stream where we get together and we talk about the news. We try to give our views. We try to help each other make sense of it all. We scratch our heads and say, what is that? And then we say to ourselves, are we sure we really want to know? And then we finally finish it up with a comment of, okay, moving on to the next crazy thing. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media website known as YouTube. So please, if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. What do you mean you're waiting? Waiting for what? TBA, I should already be out there. What's going on? What is going on with this? Wait a second. What the heck is going on with this? This is crazy. Hang on a minute. We'll get into this right now, my friends. Investigate this situation. I told Rumble that we're on at 8 p.m. We are on at 8 p.m. We saved this thing. So it says allow 30 seconds. Well, daggone it. The 30 seconds are up. Let's get right down to it, shall we? Don't know what's going on here, but Rumble should be operating. I don't know why it's not. There we go. There we go. That's more like it, people. Don't be scaring me like that. All right, here we go. No. Refresh, TBA, refresh it. It should be working. It ought to be working. I assure you, my friend, please. Hang on, folks. I'll no you if I need to. Thank you very much. In the words of that great philosopher Greta Thunberg, how dare you? Yes, we're here. Thank you, and I apologize for the slight delay in the start of the show. I will explain all of this momentarily. Okay, and TBA says I've restarted my computer too. Now, okay, the copy may say 7:30. Okay. Well, all right, okay. Yeah, I did everything else except that. So that one's on me. I apologize. I apologize, TBA. You're right. I should have very quickly edited the text. However, things not working out the way they did. I know that one's on me. So yes, hello. Good evening, my dear. And I saw your tweet at me. I will. Oh well, I'm glad you accept my apology. Okay. Sorry about all that, folks. Let me explain what is going on. Why we're here at 8 o'clock in the evening, and I think you're gonna give me a little bit. TBA says I've been waiting breathlessly since 7 p.m. Oh, good heavens to Murgatroyd! Now, just a moment, sir. Just a moment. Okay, well, that one, Zippy says you can make a comment post on the scheduled video. I apologize. I apologize to all of you, but I think when you hear what is going on, you will begin to understand why we are doing this at the hour in which we are doing it. So, with that, let me get into some explanations. Ma Trippett, M.A. Ma Trippett, had an appointment at the beauty parlor today. The appointment was supposed to be at 11:30 a.m., which it was. Okay. Now, you might be sitting there thinking to yourself, okay, Front Porch, so Ma Trippett's going to the beauty parlor. Why is that causing you to be here at 8 o'clock as opposed to 7:30? That is a space of about, let's see, 11:30. what, 6-7 hours, something like that. Okay, hang on. The original plan was that when Ma Trippett got done at the beauty parlor, that I would go and pick her up, bring her here to the house, wait till I get done with work, because I can work from home. Okay. Well, now TBA, you're getting warm, and I'm getting there. So the original plan was Ma Trippett gets done at the beauty parlor, which, yes, that's what we still call it in these parts, the beauty parlor. And she'd come to my house, wait till I got done with work, because I was working from home for the day. No problem. And, from there, I'd take her home, then come back here, start the stream at 7:30. Okay, no problem. I've got all that. I've worked. I mean, I've got a beautiful string of tabs up here on the other screen, So, rounds about 3:00, I called over to the beauty parlor and I said, is everything going okay? Because I'm not, just hadn't heard anything. Oh, she's back there with so-and-so who's working on her right now. Okay, cool. Just call me when you get done, or when she gets done. At about, call it 6:15. Because when Ma Trippett went to the beauty parlor, it's been a while since she's been, because her lady was down out of state for about 2 months. Her lady was taking care of one of her family members. So Ma Trippett got the full treatment, the pedicure, the manicure, got a haircut, got the permanent, all those things that ladies like to do at the beauty parlor. So at 6:15, I get the phone call. And TBA is a couple of chicks gabbing at the beauty parlor. Oy vey, I'll tell you for. No. I don't think it was all gabbing. Okay, I don't think it was all gabbing, so to speak. So, so anyway, per her request, I run a real quick errand, and then I go pick her up, and she's like, "Can we get something to eat?" Because she hadn't had anything to eat all day. From the time she left the house at about 11 o'clock that morning, till I picked her up, she hadn't had a thing to eat. So we go through a drive-through at one of the local restaurants here in town, and she's looking at the clock going, "You're not going to make it in time for your 8 o'clock live stream." I said, "You just let me worry about that. Just calm down." Okay. So get her home at about 7:25. I sit down, scarf down the burger that I have, the sandwich that I had gotten at the drive-thru of this restaurant. And from there, took out her garbage. And I'm not saying this to make myself sound any better than what I was. I was just doing a couple little things to make her life easier. And then at about 20 minutes till 8, I got in my car and did my best Dale Earnhardt Jr. at Daytona International Speedway impression. On the interstate, I had moves like Jagger. Okay, I was just slicing and dicing, baby. You'd have thought it was down to the last 5 laps of the 500. All right, got through my door with about 8 minutes to go. Donned my fedora, put on a vest, and here I am. No, wait a minute. Wait a second. Oh, hold on. And good evening, Miss Gypsy. Mwah. And M169. Mwah. Yeah. All right, hang on a minute. Hang on. I will interrupt this story momentarily. Let me see what I got here. Okay, it probably hasn't arrived yet, but okay, I'm just going to wait patiently. Okay, you tweeted it at me. All right, I'm just waiting for it to arrive. Okay. All right. It will get here. I haven't seen it yet, Gypsy, but it will get here. Okay. All right. TBA says, is Walz off the ticket yet? Well, after tonight, he may very well be, because with all the stuff I got lined up to talk about old Tim Walz, I tell you what, I have never in all my life seen a vice presidential candidate that either was not vetted the way that was vetted as piss poorly as Tim Walz was, or they just didn't care. That's a good way of putting it. Walzing to disaster. That may very well be the case, brother. And good evening to you. All right, finishing the Ma Trippett story. So I called Ma Trippett with about 8 minutes to go before the start of the show, and I said, hey, I made it through the door. Be cool. I told you I could manage the clock. So TBA says, so you left Ma Trippett at the beauty parlor? No, I did not leave Ma Trippett at the beauty parlor. Daggone it. I picked her up, drove her home. We grabbed dinner on the way back to her place. I sat down, scarfed down my dinner. And here I am because I love you guys and I'm just that much of a dedicated idiot. Okay. WWG1 says, I often pay my debts with Walmart sliders. I've never had a Walmart slider, WWG1s. I'll have to try that sometime. So anyway, that's why we're starting this 8 o'clock. And I will apologize to you guys for the shift in the timing and the fact that I didn't have the foresight to edit the text. So my apologies to all of you, but thank you guys, you the loyal members of Fedora Nation, for tolerating this little switch up and being here tonight, because we have got a ton of stuff to go through. And good evening, Miss Tiny. We're glad to have you here with us. Believe me, where Tim Walz is concerned, the vice presidential nominee, we have got a ton of stuff to go through. And hey, Gypsy, do me a favor, dear. I'm looking for what you sent me, but it still hasn't shown up. I'm not saying you didn't send it, but it hasn't got here yet. I'm just letting you know. I'm not complaining. There you go. Now, I could see where this would be true. If a White Castle is available, never take a Walmart slider. If you can get White Castle, you're doing something. TBA says, oh, you ate dinner with Ma and then drove like a bat out of hell to get home. That is exactly, sir. Okay, all right. Gypsy just dropped the link in on the Rumble side. Okay, hang on a minute, everybody. We have the late breaking here. Compliments of Miss Gypsy. Let me see what I got going on here, because this looks tantalizingly interesting. Hang on a minute. Okay. One of two. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh my. Oh crap. Yeah, I can see now what you are getting at. I can see what you're getting at, dear. Give me a second. I'm going to pop this over on the other side of where I'm at, and we will get into this, because this deserves some commentary. As y'all know, there is now a heaping big controversy where Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is concerned regarding his time in the United States military, particularly in the question of Iraq. And it's being widely reported that Tim Walz has engaged in an act of stolen valor. He's claiming he served in Iraq, and the reality is he didn't. Well, not only did he not serve in Iraq as a commander of men, but one of the men who would have been serving with him apparently died, absent him being on the field. I'm going to pop this up right now. This is compliments of Miss Gypsy. This is Kyle R. Miller. Was in Tim Walz's battalion. He died in combat. He's 19 years old when he passed. From Wilmar, Minnesota. Headquarters and Headquarters Battery, 1st Battalion, 125th Field Artillery. Died June 26, 2006 in Balad, Iraq. How does Vice President... I tell you what, I'm serious about this. This whole stolen valor thing, if this were a Republican, he'd already withdrawn. And Gypsy over on Rumble says the Swift boaters took down John Kerry, and there was 0.0001 social media. How does Walz survive this? That's a great question, Gypsy, because I'm telling you what right now. I'm not saying that this is going to put him out, okay? But I'll say this much. The scrutiny that he's going to be under between then and now is going to be remarkable. hang on a minute. I got to sucked in some air way too quick. I'll say this much. If for some reason Tim Walz withdraws his candidacy as the vice presidential candidate, man, you talk about absolute pandemonium and chaos in the Democrat Party. Because what are they going to do? Go back to Shapiro? They're not going to take Shapiro. They've already made very clear they can't, or I should say, they wouldn't take Shapiro on the grounds he's Jewish. Now, no Democrat in their right mind is going to admit that, but that's the reality. Everybody knows it. So who's next? Rush would be proud that his phrase swift-boated survived him, says TBA. Yeah, you got that right. I agree. The great Maharishi is looking down from heaven and going, my kids are going to be okay. All right, let's get it. We've got a million and one things to get into, but we do have a public service update, and I have neglected as a host to direct our thoughts and prayers as Fedora Nation to the people who are going through, Tropical Storm Debbie. Okay, well, it was a hurricane, now it's down to a tropical storm. And, it's a very tough time for folks who are trying to survive this because, right now everybody's focused on this thing or that thing. And when a major storm like, Tropical Storm Debbie rolls through your area, should we be paying attention to it and the devastation that it's causing and the disruption to lives? Absolutely, we should. And with that, we've got some updates. So, before we get into the stuff about Tim Walz, I definitely want to talk about that. Some people are really having a hard time bearing up under Debbie. Okay. Some people, on the other hand, they seem to be, they've prepared well, and they are doing what they feel they need to do. So it's with that. As always, folks, give me a sound check. And here is how some people are dealing with Tropical Storm Debbie.
Now me, I was scared. But Lieutenant Dan, he was mad. Come on! You call this a storm? Oh, you son of a... It's time for a showdown!
Like I said, some people seem to be bearing up under Tropical Storm Debbie better than others. So, that's how some in Florida are getting through it, So I found that and I thought, it does give us the opportunity to direct our thoughts and prayers to the folks out there, who are working their way through Tropical Storm Debbie. And, I guess in some cases it's helping people get, certain frustrations out of their system, which is always a good thing. So there you go. Okay. All right. Enough of my bad attempts at humor. Let's get down to talking about Tim Walz. Oh, God, this guy. Okay. People have been asking ever since Monday, what in the name of God does this man bring to the ticket? Shapiro, you would have understood. He at least gives you a good shot at maybe taking Pennsylvania. Okay. And if you weren't going to take Shapiro, then fine. Take somebody like an Andy Beshear. He doesn't necessarily help you, but he doesn't hurt you either. Or I could make an argument he might help you because you got a California liberal in Kamala Harris, and you got a Southern Democrat in Andy Beshear. It would have at least offered ideological balance, if nothing else. Instead, Kamala Harris took someone as liberal, or more so, than her. So where exactly does Tim Walz stand on all the issues? Because, look, it's now what? We're past 24, 48. Yeah, we're like almost, 60 hours into the announcement about him being the Veep candidate. Where does this guy stand on the issues? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to give you the sanitized version of what Tim Walz says he believes in, and then I'm going to let you listen to it from his own mouth. Okay? Now, when I say the sanitized version of it, I'm going to give you the mainstream media's interpretation of where Tim Walz stands on the issues. Translation, what they think they want you to know as opposed to what you really need to know. Okay? But before we do that, real quick commercial, since this is something of a helter-skelter version of Chattin tonight. If you have found your way to this live stream at 8:20 in the evening Eastern Standard Time, and you're saying to yourself, Lord have mercy, what is going on this hot mess of a live stream? Well, let me tell you something. My name's Brian Trippett, okay? I'm known in social media as the Front Porch Conservative, and this live stream you have found is called Chattin on the Porch. We, this very loyal audience and myself, we get together Monday through Thursday nights, usually at 7:30 p.m., but tonight we're doing it at 8 o'clock. So, and again, blessings to everybody who's found their way here. We are on Rumble. We are on Twitter. We are on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Please also hit the thumbs up. I would really appreciate it because, man, right now it's just, whew, stuff going on. Stuff going on. Not bad. Just trying to grow this little concern of a channel. And, you know, everybody that, you know, pitches in and subscribes, gives the thumbs up, hits the bell for notifications, shares the link around, it really helps. So with that, thank you for being here. Glad to have you. And now let's get into it. All right. The sanitized version of Tim Walz's record. From the pages of Politico.com, we have the following. Your Tim Walz policy guide, where he stands on abortion, unions, energy, and more. Article written by the Politico staff. We have the following. Tim Walz will join the Democrat ticket as the vice presidential candidate with an established track record on issues ranging from climate to education, following 6 terms in Congress and 5 years as Minnesota's governor. The former high school teacher, football coach, and National Guard veteran represented a conservative rural southern Minnesota district in the U.S. House and could help reconnect Democrats with disillusioned rural voters. Still, Walz's policies reflect a progressive agenda, support for labor rights, skepticism of trade deals, and backing for increased public education spending. Now, let me before I go further, let me make one point about Minnesota Democrats. Okay? In recent years, they are known for being remarkably liberal. Okay? Remarkably so. Keith Ellison, Ilhan Omar. I mean, I could just keep on going with, Amy Klobuchar. Okay? Tina Smith, all of these, Walz. There was a time when Minnesota Democrats were kind of, all right, they might have been economically progressive, but other stuff, they're kind of middle of the road, okay? I mean, for example, Hubert Humphrey, Walter Mondale, others. Now, I'm not saying that, when I say that they were economically progressive, but they were kind of, even keeled on some of the other stuff, it just depends on the issue. And you also have to keep in mind where the Democrats are concerned, that's a sliding scale, okay? But I will say this. I have a feeling that if old-timers like Hubert Humphrey and Walter Mondale and other old-school Democrats from Minnesota were alive today, I will bet you they'd look at their current party members and go, you guys are freaking out there. What the hell is the matter with you people? Okay, so that's, that second paragraph, okay, gives you some food for thought. But anyway, let's get back to it. With that mix of rural appeal and progressive bona fides, Kamala Harris may be hoping that Walz will bring a balanced appeal that could shore up support across battleground Midwestern states. I've got some polling on that here in a little bit. It's going to show it ain't happening so far. Quote, one of the things about Tim that I think is a strength is his ability just to be real, said Senate Agriculture member Tina Smith, Democrat from Minnesota, in a recent interview. Here's where Walz stands on some big issues driving the national policy conversation. Labor. Walz has been championing progressive labor policy since Democrats took unified control of the Minnesota state legislature. Since 2023, Minnesota Democrats have outlawed non-compete agreements, which can inhibit people from switching jobs within the same industry, barred employers from penalizing workers from skipping out on anti-union or other politically charged meetings, effectively raised the minimum wage for employees of small businesses, and set the stage for an expansive paid leave program. Some of those policies are so new that they have not yet to take effect, and businesses have filed legal challenges that may ultimately block some of these changes. Walz is a former union member, and he joined the United Auto Workers picket line last year during its high-profile contract dispute with the big three car companies. The choice gives Democrats nationally a shot in the arm, as many of these ideas have been stymied in Congress, even as things like paid leave remain popular among the public, and counter concerns on the left that someone like Walz would be too moderate to support major changes for American workers. Where is Tim Walz on healthcare? Well, here's where it gets interesting. Walz's healthcare background includes outspoken support for abortion rights. Now we got a clip here in a minute. I said this is the sanitized version. Y'all get ready. He signed a bill in 2023 codifying the right to abortion in Minnesota, and in March, he joined Harris at a Planned Parenthood health center, the first visit by a sitting vice president to a clinic that performs abortions. Earlier this year, he told the Minnesota Star Tribune that his wife's experiences using in vitro fertilization to conceive their two children in the wake of the Alabama Supreme Court decision on IVF. Quote, "It's not by chance that we are named our daughter Hope," he told the paper. All right. Walz has been a supporter of LGBTQ plus rights, signing an executive order last year to protect access to gender-affirming care in the state, and another to ban conversion therapy in 2021. In 2020, he signed legislation lowering insulin costs for patients struggling to afford it. Earlier this year, he signed legislation that bans medical providers from withholding necessary care due to unpaid debt and prohibits medical debt from impacting credit scores. In June, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau also unveiled a proposal to keep medical debt from hurting one's credit scores, with Harris pushing the way. Walz garnered criticism from Republican leaders during the pandemic for his COVID-19 policy, which included an indoor mask mandate and a hotline for people who were breaking the COVID rules. I want to talk about that for 1 second. That hotline for people who were breaking the COVID rules. Tim Walz is out there saying, one of the basic things that we understand in Minnesota is the good neighbor rule. Mind your own business. Well, that's a load of hooey. You were out there telling people, hey, go ahead and snitch on your neighbors. If they're violating COVID rules, you just call this 1-800 number. You tell us, we'll take care of it, baby. Don't you worry about it. Oh yeah. Oh, Ruben, brother, I hope your blood pressure's down, because it gets better with this guy. So, and Gypsy, I saw that link you dropped over there in Rumble. I'm not ignoring it. I just let me get through this, and then I'll get to it real quick. And we move along. Said one heifer to a Holstein. Trade. Walz has a record of voting against trade deals, a signal that the Democrat ticket would continue the Biden administration's approach to worker-centered trade policies that elevates labor and environmental standards above commercial interest. Oh, what a load of hooey. In Congress, Walz voted against a free trade deal with Peru in 2007 and opposed deals with Panama and Colombia. He reversed that trend by supporting a deal with South Korea in 2011. In 2015, he opposed legislation along with the majority of the House Democrats that would have made it easier for former President Barack Obama to seal the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement between the 12 Pacific Rim economies. Quote, "We need a trade deal that's fair, that restricts currency manipulation, promotes made-in-America manufacturing, and opens foreign markets," Walz said in a statement rejecting Obama's Trade Promotion Authority legislation. Unfortunately, and by extension, the trade agreement assistance makes it so Congress cannot ensure that is the case. Still, the governor of the fourth largest agriculture exporting state, he did not reject the value of trade. Walz promised to expand agricultural markets during his gubernatorial campaign in 2018. The next year, he said that Minnesota's farmers remained in need of stable trade relations with China in remarks recapping a delegation visit to Japan and South Korea. And okay, I'm going to drop the rest of this article in chat, as opposed to y'all sitting here listening to me drone on about this stuff. Okay, and I'll let you read. It's a good article. It's a pretty good summation. It's very slanted. So that's where Tim Walz is at on some of the hot button issues of the day. All right. Now, before we get to what he actually said, let me take a look at this thing the gypsies dropped, because this looks tantalizingly interesting. Hang on a minute. Let me look at this real fast. Oh my. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh boy. Yeah, this stolen valor thing is about to come back to bite him in the ass. Oh my. Gypsy, I'm going to put this under the section that I've got for Walz on the whole stolen valor story, because this definitely needs to be talked about. Thank you for dropping this to my attention. Yeah, we're definitely gonna bring this up. Absolutely, we are. Let me drop that to right where I need it to be when the time comes. Okay. So we know what the mainstream media would like for you to believe. Oh, now, wait a minute. I'm about to be reported, ladies and gentlemen. WWG1 says, "Where is your mask, Brian? I may need to report you." Yeah, hang on a minute. Where is my mask? I don't know. I thought it was around here somewhere. I thought I left it on one of my fingers. Was it that one or was it that one? I don't know. Anyway, sorry, just being a smart aleck. So now we know where the mainstream media would like you to, what they would like for you to believe about Tim Walz's record. Well, you know me. I believe let's go get it from the horse's mouth, or in this case, the jackass. I think this was during the whole White Guys for Harris fundraiser. This is a 10-second clip. Where does Tim Walz stand philosophically? Well, here you go, folks.
But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Okay, so if I am understanding that correctly, he is he's calling himself a socialist or a progressive at minimum and a socialist at best. I mean, folks, and let me ask you, my audience, and I am not trying to be anything other than fair here. Okay. How do you interpret that comment? I'll play. You know what? I'll play it again for the sake of fairness. 2, 1.
But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values.
So he says he has progressive values. Here's the rest of it.
One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. At a minimum, he's calling himself a progressive. Well, what does that mean? I mean, to say he's a progressive, well, I'll let you guys come up with the answer to that one. But our dear friend, Christian Watson, has a comment about this. And, love you, darling. Yes, I know I look good in black. It's very slimming. Which, by the way, come Monday, I will give you guys an update on my weight loss journey. Okay. From the inestimable Christian Watson. There couldn't be a bigger difference between socialism and neighborliness. Neighborliness presumes several principles that require a classically Republican system, such as goodwill, voluntary cooperation, justice as the defensive moral value which underpins society, charitability, and beneficence. Socialism demands a system of redistribution, expropriation, class conflict, general social antagonism, and viewing justice as a matter of resources rather than a moral value. Moral confusion is the greatest threat to the preservation of the republic. Christian, dude, let me rephrase that. Professor, dude, boom. This is one of the reasons why I love you. One of the reasons why I absolutely love you. All right. So, what does, if he's a progressive, then how does he feel about basic fundamental rights? All right. Well, he got an answer for that one. Here's Tim Walz. All right. In an interview, this runs about 8 seconds. Listen to this.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Whoa. There's no guarantee of free speech, especially around the issue of misinformation. Well, first of all, how the hell do you know it's misinformation if you won't let anybody speak it? Timothy? Tim Law? Sorry, about to go South Park here on this guy. Tim Law? Hey, Tim Law, how do you know it's called, yes, exactly, TBA, it's the First Amendment. Go back, hey, Tim Law, go back to the 1960s, dude. There were Supreme Court cases talking about the question of freedom of speech involving the frickin' Ku Klux Klan. And you know what they figured out? The language of the Ku Klux Klan is completely and absolutely repulsive. But the Supreme Court still allowed it. Zippy over on Rumble with a Rumble rant. Bless your heart, sir. Socialism is a return to a noble caste system. The nobles decide how you live. It's just another collective based around a social hierarchy. Amen and amen. Yeah, so he doesn't believe in free speech. That's what his progressive values, the enlightened values, the smart values, the ones that, what was it? What was the title of Thomas Sowell's great work? Oh, yeah. Visions of the Anointed. He's one of the anointed, and he's going to tell you and me, because we're a bunch of brainless plebes, what our God-given rights are. Okay? He knows better, and he'll tell us what we get and what we don't. Well, screw you, Tim Law. All right. So what else does this joker believe? Well, okay, like I said, there's the sanitized version that Politico.com wants you to know about. And then there's the other stuff. Before we get to that, we live in a democracy apparently that doesn't involve... Yep. Now, we played this ad the other day. Okay. So he's already a progressive. He doesn't believe in free speech. I'm sorry. TBA brings up a very valid point. No! Walz believes in his free speech, not yours. Very true, my friend. Very true indeed. Now, we played this ad the other day, but it bears repeating. And I will say it again. If there's anybody from the Trump campaign that happens to be watching this live stream, and if you don't want to admit it, I understand you have reputations to protect. I mean, you can't be slumming around on my live stream. I get it. Y'all don't want to admit that you get advice from me, but that's okay. As the lightning comes down through the ceiling. But if you Trump campaign people are watching this, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. You came up with a great ad the other day. Virginia, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, New York. I'd play this everywhere you think you got a, quote, swing state. And if you're wondering the ad that I'm referring to, this one, you want to know what progressive values could wind up getting you depending on the issue? Here's what Mr. Progressive, old Timala, thinks. And with that, here you go.
What could be weirder than signing a bill into law that requires schools to stock tampons in boys' bathrooms? Or weirder than signing legislation allowing minors to receive sex change operations? Try electing the man who signed those bills Vice President of the United States. Enter Chief Weirdo Tim Walz. As governor of Minnesota, Walz supported legislation that endangers minors, hurts women, and puts radical ideology ahead of common sense. Now Kamala wants Walz to enforce those laws on a national scale. Tim Walz, too weird, too radical.
Put that ad on YouTube. Put that out on Rumble. And before the kids get to watch the video or the parents get to watch the video with the kids, you make sure everybody sees that. Shout it from the rooftop. Absolutely pour it on. Don't let up. Because the people need to know the truth. It's bad enough that you've got a California fascist in Kamala Harris, who not only is she a fascist, she's a brainless fascist. Okay? She's brainless and she's weak. And she proved how weak she was when she let herself get rolled on the choice of the vice presidential nominee. Okay? At a minimum, she should have taken Shapiro. And she let the Palestinian bloc of the Democrat base cow her out of it. She's weak and she can be rolled. So, yeah. But now, take that California fascist, brainless California fascist in Kamala Harris and couple it with a Midwestern lunatic, which is what this guy is. I'm sorry. There's no this is beyond the question of political disagreement or political philosophy. This dude's a Looney Tune. And the more you find out about him, the crazier he sounds. Okay? I'll give you, I don't think they're going to have a problem mentioning their names. Y'all know that occasionally in the mornings I'll listen to a live stream called the Steel Toe Morning Show. Okay? It's the beautiful blending of old school radio and modern internet technology. It's hosted by a young man named Aaron Imholt. Okay, he does kind of a goofy. I shouldn't say he's goofy. He's not. Well, you'd say he's goofy. He does kind of a shock jock, kind of a Howard Stern, Anthony Cumia sort of a shtick. But he's from Minnesota, and so are his co-hosts. And when they found out that Tim Walz had been picked, they said, great, now America gets to find out just how big a piece of shit governor we've got. They can't stand him. And these guys aren't even necessarily political. I mean, they've got political views, don't get me wrong. They'll tell you if you ask them, okay? But they're not necessarily a political show. But when they found out that Walz got picked for the Veep, they're like, okay, America gets to find out how big of a piece of shit governor we've got. And I'm almost quoting them on that. Okay. TBA says, Valley Girl Fascist. That's a good nickname for her, among others. That's a real good nickname for her. Oh, I saw that. Shall we take a moment of silence on behalf of... Gypsy, I just saw that. Shall we have a moment of silence for the fact that Cori Bush, representative from Missouri, Democrat, lost her primary last night? Let us take a moment. Okay, that's long enough. Thank God that wench is gone. All right, moving on. Hang on. Gypsy just dropped me some intel, so let's see what this is. Hang on a minute. What's all this about? Man, I tell you what, you guys are the I tell you what, you guys are. Oh my God! That is wrong in so many different ways. That is just absolutely wrong. Oh my word. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want it to be known. I just want it to be known right now that, I disavow. I disavow this sort of untoward imagery. it's only out of, making sure that you guys are well aware of what's going on in the world that I bring this picture to you right now. But I disavow this as very untoward. That's all I if I may borrow a line from Keanu C. Thompson. And Keanu, if you're seeing this, darling, I love you. Come on back here sometime. I'd love to have you. Anyway. And by the way, Aaron M. Holt, same deal. Oh my word. Yeah. Tampon Timmy. Yeah, buddy. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I'm serious. I have never in my life have I seen a I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Look, I have been apologizing to a lot of people tonight already, Rhonda. So get in line. Get in line. It goes around the block. I'm sorry. What a time to come online. Ah! Oh, now look. I have no idea if they're ultra absorbent. I don't know if they're maxis or minis or what. Look, you ladies, bless your hearts. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, Gypsy, thank you for sending that over, by the way. I told you this was going to be a real fun stream tonight. Anyway, what else have we got? All right. Yeah, let's get into some more of this here. Yeah. Here's one for you talking about his progressive values. Tim Walz signs an executive order, quote, supporting the transgender community, and included a 12-year-old transgendered child, a young boy, and a little girl holding a stuffed animal in the signing ceremony. So he supports child mutilation openly. Yeah, buddy, here we go with this.
The purpose of being here is we've been signing a lot of bills. We've been welcoming our neighbors back into their communities by making sure we're restoring voting rights to folks. We're making sure that our neighbors can drive to their kids' soccer games. So today, I am directing my state agencies to take action to protect and support the rights of Minnesota's LGBTQIA+ community.
Last name? I'm going to do it. Here it is. And guess what? Love wins. Here you go.
Love wins. Love wins, y'all. That's his idea of love. There you go. Yeah, progressive values. There you go. Play that in all kinds of places. Let's talk about abortion. Tim Walz is willing to talk about it. Lord, y'all are just dropping stuff left and right in chat. Gypsy just dropped me something else here. Hang on a minute. I gotta see what the heck is up with this before I get to this next Tim Walz clip. Jeez, y'all are just goodness me. Oh, okay. You're sharing that with the. You're sharing that. TBA says this whole show is devolving quickly. TBA, when does it not? Jeez. Oh, goodness me. Yeah, I mean, he'll talk about, Tim Walz will talk about abortion. He'll gladly talk about abortion. As a matter of fact, he's talked so much about abortion. He says he's so pro-abortion that he's being told to be shut up by certain people. Check this out. We got a clip here where he's giving a speech, and here we go.
And my record is so pro-choice, Nancy Pelosi asked me if I should tone it down. I stand with Planned Parenthood, and we won. And my...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Please. And I'm going to ask you guys a question. You know, it makes you wonder. It really does. Woo. Zippy over on Rumble says, just wait till the progressives in Minnesota institute 9-year marriages for 9-year-olds in Sharia law. Ugh. Jeez. Yeah, it's bad. It is just bad. Yeah, he's so pro-choice. Apparently, Nancy Pelosi tried to get him to tone it down a little bit. And he said, heck no, I'm not doing it. So where's Tim Walz at on the question of immigration? Oh, let's get into this one. You guys are going to love this. Here's an interview he did, I guess, when he was running for governor, either the first time or for re-election. This clip runs about 15 seconds, and it really says everything you need to know. Check this out.
Should Minnesota be a sanctuary state?
If the definition of that is that the federal government enforces immigration law and local law enforcement enforces local law, then yes.
Should cities be allowed to be sanctuary cities?
Yes, local control.
Okay. Well, now maybe, just maybe, I'm not, giving him fairness here. Maybe I'm misinterpreting this, but here's another interview that he did with later on down the line with Anderson Cooper. This is very recent. So, folks, here's some more of what he thinks about immigration and immigration policy.
Knowing that he's not going to do anything. He talks about this wall. I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in the 30-foot ladder factory. That's not how you stop this. You stop this using electronics. You stop it using more border control agents. And you stop it by having a legal system that allows for that tradition of allowing folks to come here, just like my relatives did, to come here, be able to work and establish the American dream. He's not interested in that. He wants to demonize. Look, we produce most of the turkeys that you're going to eat in Thanksgiving. Those are immigrants working hard, establishing themselves here. What's he going to do? Is he going to take them all out? No.
Okay, now hold on, Tim. Hold on. First of all, no one has a problem with anybody coming here legally. The issue right now is not legal immigration. The issue is illegal immigration. It has been the issue now for years. Donald Trump, with the border wall, was trying to stop it and get it under control. Between that and other policies he enacted, he had it under control. WWG1 says, false argument, they are good at that. So exactly. Take the argument, take the issue, mangle it around a little bit, and poof, all of a sudden we have a new issue, and let's make an argument for it. No one has a problem. No one has a problem at all with legal immigration. Come to this country. We'd love to have you. Just do it the right way and obey our laws doing it. Don't violate our sovereign border doing it. The progressive values of Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen, of the modern Democrat Party. Matter of fact, he's so progressive on immigration, he's giving driver's licenses to people who aren't even citizens of the state of Minnesota. Check this out.
It's done.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
Yeah, he's giving driver's licenses to everybody, regardless of whether they're citizens of the United States or not. This guy is a radical. I mean, Kamala might be, a fascist, but she's a brainless fascist. This guy seems to know what he's doing, and he's doing a very good job of destroying the state of Minnesota. Do you really want to give him a crack at the country? TBA asks, honestly, Brian, aren't you glad that Walz was named the Dem Veep? Who could have been worse? Pete Buttigieg, but not by much. It'd be a real horse race to see which one of those two would cross the line first on pissing off the majority of Americans. Buttigieg or Walz. It'd be real close. But am I happy that they picked Tim Walz? Oh yeah. This guy, I mean, look, she's not here tonight, and I'm not going to pick on her, but up in Connecticut made the statement regarding Michael Dukakis that Michael Dukakis was a moderate, and look, I'm not going to pick on her for her argument, but my point is this. By the time the Republicans got done with Michael Dukakis in 1988, that man couldn't have been elected dog catcher in America, or even Massachusetts, let alone anything else. You have a vice presidential nominee in Tim Walz that is pedal to the metal, full on, balls to the wall, progressive, liberal, fascist. Excuse me. And the more you find out about his record, and this is what I'm saying, hey Trump campaign, stick to the issues. Don't worry about Joe Biden. Joe Biden's done, okay? He's got a shawl around his neck. He's sitting in the rocking chair on the front porch at the nursing home. Don't worry about him. Focus on Harris. Focus on her record. Focus on her issues. Focus on Tim Walz. Focus on his record. Focus on his issues. You do that for the next 90 days, and you let people in the Midwest know it, in Virginia know it, in New Jersey know it. Dude, we are headed for a 350-plus electoral vote landslide. Just hammer this home. Don't wait for the convention. Just start carpet bombing these two now. Let them have it. Just turn the guns on them, politically speaking. Turn the political guns on them and let them have it. Like I said, one of my favorite lines from Rocky II, don't let that bastard breathe. Don't let these... I'll settle for 271, but I don't want to just beat them. I want to beat their ideology. I want to beat their ideas. I want this to be a complete, absolute, and thorough repudiation of not only what they believe in, but I want this to be a repudiation of the godfather of the current Democrat Party, Barack Obama. WWG1 says, Hillary knows about carpet bombing. Ask whom. I'm not going to read the rest of that. Shame on you, sir. Shame on you. Yeah. Midwestern. He's going to be so relatable to Midwestern voters. So relatable. Hang on a minute. I got to take a look at this thing that Gypsy just sent me. Woo, I tell you what. We're hot tonight, guys. We are hot tonight. Uh-oh. Yeah, we got something else here to be checking in on. Woo, baby. Yeah. Gypsy, we're going to add this to the list. Whew. Tell you what. It's hot time in the town tonight. Let's talk about COVID. Let's talk about how he handled COVID. Oh boy. Y'all, have any of y'all out there got kids? Remember what it was like during 2020? Really? Or you had grandchildren or nieces or nephews? Remember all that? You want to know how he handled COVID? In the schools especially? Folks, take a listen to this.
Would you have done the schools any differently? Because I think that's where a lot of parents are upset about what happened with the schools.
Well,
do you think you could have made any other choice?
Well, I think, just to be clear, over 80% of our students missed less than 10 days of in-class learning. The vast majority of students were in. It depended, again, on population density. Many of these decisions were being made by local folks to be able to do what was necessary to keep them there. I think, again, in hindsight, if we could have known that we would get vaccinations out as quickly as possible, we prioritize teachers and the staff in schools to get there. We're doing it differently now. And since May of 2021, almost every one of our students has been in the entire time and been doing that. So I think with hindsight, as 2020, perhaps we could have tailored a little bit closer to that. But the fact of the matter is, making the case that we shouldn't have done anything is simply wrong.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. And the thing is, I don't think this is confined to, live chats like the one we're having right now. I'm telling you, when this starts getting out there, when friends start talking to friends about this, when they start sharing this information around, and they will, he's got problems. Who was it over on Rumble said, I think it was Gypsy, as a matter of fact, that said, how does Tim Walz survive all this? Particularly, she was saying in the context of the whole stolen valor question. I mean, look what happened to John Kerry. And that was before social media really took off in political campaigns. Okay? Now, everybody, this is getting out there And it is in the ether, not just the whole stolen valor question, which we're about to get to here in a minute, but everything else about this guy's record, his comments, everything else. Now, as far as the vetting of this guy, I can only come to one of two conclusions. Either they don't care because they don't think it's going to make a difference with the voters, or the people who vetted him were so lazy and stupid, they didn't realize any of this stuff was out there. Now, I really have a hard time believing that political operatives, as good as the Democrats are, would not realize all the... I mean, look, I'm a 52-year-old guy sitting around in my little study here in my house, and I'm just pulling down stuff off of Twitter that people are finding on their own. Okay? And I can do this. If a 52-year-old, tech challenged guy like me can, make a presentation to you guys showing you his words, his comments, his record, his everything else, you mean to tell me that the Democrats who were vetting him for the vice presidential nomination didn't see this stuff themselves? Which means to me, they just didn't care. Because they didn't think it would make a difference. They didn't think you would be offended by this guy. They thought, oh, he's Midwestern, he's a governor, he's kind of gruff, kind of got that whole Brian Dennehy thing going on. God rest the soul of Brian Dennehy. Looks like your Midwestern dad or your uncle or somebody you go deer hunting with or drink beer with or whatever. They thought, oh yeah, this guy's totally relatable to Midwestern voters. BS. Heck no, he's not. Zippy over on Rumble. Again, thank you for the Rumble rants. Very kind of you. Someone check Walz's freezer. Deer meat is greenback. Jeez. I know. This guy is a piece of crap. Timalaw is awful. Timalaw is terrible. Now, that was how he handled COVID in 2020. Oh, people, let's get into the George Floyd riots. WWG1 says Timalaw Walz reminds me of the creepy uncle who always wants you to sit on his lap. Maybe he went to the Joe Biden School of Personal Relations. Anyway, so as Minneapolis is burning, as St. Paul is burning, as other parts of Minnesota are burning, what are his thoughts on the whole situation? This clip ought to tell you everything you need to know about Tim Walz. Now, keep in mind, this 30-second clip is in the context of his response or what he thinks about the riots, the burning, the looting that is going on in Minneapolis, St. Paul, people's reaction to the death of George Floyd. Listen to this.
A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at. This is a moment of inflection. It's a moment of real change. It's a moment that those folks who are out there demanding this are not going to take a commission or a report. They're going to want fundamental change. And that is what I think that's one of the exciting things in the midst of all this. You can feel a sense of optimism coming back.
Yeah, Gypsy, okay, I'm going to answer this question as directly as I understand it, and then I want to go back and talk about this. Okay. Did Obama direct Kamala to pick Walz? It has been said or reported or what have you that Barack Obama really liked the idea of Tim Walz. It was also reported by Jack Posobiec, the editor of Human Events, that Barack and Michelle were pushing for Buttigieg. I've also heard that Eric Holder, the former Attorney General, who, by the way, headed up her vice presidential selection committee, that Eric Holder was very much in favor of Tim Walz. Okay. So I don't know. Now, if Barack did do this, did he do it with the intention of sinking Tim Walz and thereby hurting Kamala? Yet to be determined. I mean, it's been widely reported that Barack Obama does not think she can win.
Would you have done the schools any differently? Because I think that's where a lot of parents are upset about what happened.
Sorry, I boomered. Did Barack Obama do this with the intention of trying to sink her? Again, yet to be determined. I know he doesn't think she can win. Would he go so far as to torpedo her campaign? No idea. Zippy, I understand, brother. Have a good night. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for all your very kind Rumble rants. I genuinely appreciate it. TBA says, open convention next week, maybe? Well, the convention is the week after next, okay? Which, by the way, I'm going to tease you guys with something, and I apologize for this. I got in contact with somebody today that I have really wanted to get on here for an interview. It's somebody, I will tell you this much. It's somebody who's never been on here yet. And I'll tease it one step further. If this gentleman comes on the week of the Democrat National Convention, it would be wholly appropriate for us to be part of a conversation with him. The only thing I'm waiting to do now is lock down the day and time. Okay? So, as soon as I have that, absolutely, I will let you guys know who it is. And believe me, when you find out who it is, you're going to understand why I say it's so appropriate to have this guy on the electronic front porch for a conversation. WWG1 says, did you get an interview with Trump? No, dude, if I scored an interview with Trump, first of all, it would probably take me 2 days to get over the faint. I would probably fall flat on my back, fainted, and it'd take me 2 days to wake up from it. And then I the interview would be like, Trump. I'd be awful. But no, it was not Trump. Believe, guys, when we lock in the day and time, I will let you know who it is. And I think if you put this, I'll give you one more clue. Given my love of newspaper columnists, you will definitely understand why I'm having this man on the week of the Democrat National Convention. And that's all I'm going to say until we lock in the day and time. You've got 3 clues. That's it. Okay. Real quick commercial, and then we'll get back to this. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. This is Chattin on the Porch. We're on Rumble. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. I've got channels on Rumble and YouTube. Please subscribe. Please hit the thumbs up, hit the bell for notifications, and share the link around. All right, let's get back to it. I want to play this clip again, or at least the first part of it. What does he think about the rioters that are burning down Minneapolis and St. Paul? Here you go.
A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at.
So, not that a society needs to worry about the rule of law or self-control or self-restraint or honesty in political discourse. No. We've got to put equity and inclusion first. If we don't do that, then we're going to get stuff like this. Hang on, TBA. We're getting to that. Yeah. So this is what this guy thinks about. Now, as a general rule of thumb, I do not go after the spouses of political candidates or kids. Okay, I have certain unwritten rules. And these rules are in part birthed from adherence to old political tradition. One of them is you don't go after the kids of the candidates, particularly if the kids are 21 years of age or younger. Okay, yeah, they might be in college, but you don't go after the kids. One of the other rules is you don't go after the spouse. However, where Tim Walz's wife is concerned, she dropped a comment during an interview that is just straight up crazy. Okay. And I will play this for you because TBA, as being a part of the smartest audience on the internet, he just beat me to this. Okay. All right. So we've heard what Governor Tim Walz thinks about this. This is from his wife. Now, this is in the context of the George Floyd riots in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this from Mrs. Tim Walz.
I would say those first days, when there were riots, I could smell the burning tires. And that was a very real thing. And I kept the windows open for as long as I could because I felt like that was such a touchstone of what was happening.
A touchstone of what was happening. She wanted to smell the burning tires. They're both nuts. She's crazy. He's crazier. He's crazier than she is, but she's nuts. Oh, my Lord. Guys, I am telling you what. The only way that they could have let this guy on the ticket is if they came to the conclusion that all his wacky views just don't matter. Now, let us get to the biggest controversy of them all right now as it relates to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Gypsy was, you guys have probably heard about this stolen valor controversy that is just absolutely chewing Tim Walz up right now, okay? And believe me, it is. It is all over social media, right? Even CNN is commenting on this, and it's not doing him any good right now, okay? Ashley Hayek, who is the wife of a U.S. Marine and executive director of America First Works, a reporter of various other things, has got a Twitter thread on this whole story. So if you're not familiar with what's going on with this, we're going to go through it, or through her Twitter thread, and show you what this story is about. The CNN fact-check correspondent is peddling disinformation, gaslighting you, and straight-up lying about Walz. Here are the 12 facts about Walz's service that nobody can disagree with. Number 1, Tim Walz re-enlisted for 6 years in the National Guard on September 18, 2001. That means he obligated himself to serve until September 18, 2007. In 2003, then First Sergeant Walz, an E8, signed a statement of agreement and certification to attend the United States Army Sergeants Major Academy, where he agreed to serve for a minimum of 2 years after promotion to Command Sergeant Major. On September 17, 2004, then First Sergeant Walz was frocked to Command Sergeant Master Sergeant E9 of the 1st Battalion, 125th Field Artillery Regiment. And by doing so, he was obligated to serve as the Command Sergeant Major until September 17, 2006, and he still maintained his enlistment contract, which obligated him to serve through September 18, 2007. Number 4. In March of 2005, Walz and the 1st Infantry 125th Battalion were notified they would be mobilized and deployed to Iraq. On May 16th of 2005, 7 months after assuming his position as the command sergeant major of the 1st Battalion 125th First Artillery 125th Battalion, and 2 months after being notified he was going to deploy to Iraq, Walz quit by dropping his retirement papers. This was a full 18 months before the end of his Sergeant Major Academy agreement and 2.5 years before the end of his enlistment contract. Walz voluntarily signed 2 contracts to serve our country, went to school on the taxpayer's dime, used the rank of Command Sergeant Major, and quit without completing his obligated time. Number 6. He falsely filed paperwork with the Minnesota National Guard to retire as an E9, a Command Sergeant Major, knowing full well he did not meet the obligations to retire as an E9. Number 7. On September 10th, 2005, the Minnesota National Guard discovered that he did not fulfill his commitment and busted him down his retirement rank from an E9 to an E8. His official retirement grade rank is E8, a Master Sergeant. Walz cannot claim the title of Master Sergeant. He was only frocked as an E9 and never completed the requirements to be officially promoted to the rank of E9. Walz is lying and cannot claim the title of Command Master Sergeant as he never met the criteria. Number 9. Walz referred to himself as a retired Command Sergeant Major in his run for Congress and Governor. This is a lie and stolen valor. Here is from his website. Upon his 1990 return to teaching in China, he served full-time in the Army National Guard, joined the battalion overseas in Operation Enduring Freedom in 2005. After 24 years, Command Sergeant Major Walz retired from the 1st Artillery 125th, 1st Battalion, 125th Field Artillery Battalion. When he retired, he was the highest-ranking enlisted National Guard soldier in southern Minnesota. This guy is in serious trouble. Walz has never been to war in a combat zone, as he claims. His only deployment was to Italy for 6 months. Number 11. Walz claims he couldn't run for Congress while serving in the National Guard while deployed, but that's also a lie. He simply had to file paperwork with the Department of Defense and could have run for political office, as so many other reservists and National Guard soldiers have. And finally, in 2008, Twin Cities TV station and the Star Tribune were given the story. It was validated and confirmed, and then the mainstream media did what they always do. They buried the story to protect the radical left. Oh, hang on to that. Hang on to that. Darling, first of all, welcome. Glad you're able to make it with us. And again, apologies for the lateness of the hour with which we're doing this right now. Crazy day for me. But yeah, this story is blowing up all over social media right now. He's got big problems. He's claiming he served overseas. He never served. 2 months after finding out they were going to be deployed, this guy retired. And not only did he try to retire, he tried to retire with a rank that he had not fully earned yet. Now, if you're wondering how this plays in Peoria, you guys need to hear this, because this is from one of his campaign appearances. Okay? And this has to do with the question of guns. Folks, now remember everything we just read. All of this stuff is indisputable fact. Okay? Listen to this.
Hope woke up like many of you did 5 weeks ago and said, Dad, you're the only person I know who's in elected office. You need to stop what's happening with this. I'll take my kick in the butt for the NRA. I spent 25 years in the Army and I hunt. And I gave the money back, and I'll tell you what I have been doing. I've been voting for common sense legislation that protects the Second Amendment, but we can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states. And we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
You never served in war, sir. That is a damned lie. You are lying through your teeth. Ladies and gentlemen, meet John Kerry for 2024. Well, that is a good name, but sir, I will give you credit for it. I don't get me wrong. I love to be considered very intelligent, but right's right and fair is fair. If one of my audience members comes up with a nickname for something, I will give them credit as often as I can. And I agree with this. Let's just call him a coward. We need to make sure these weapons of war that I carried into combat. You carried jack shit, big boy. Oh, I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you, this is not a one-day story. This is not going to die. I don't know if this gets him off the ticket, but I'll tell you this much. This is going to dog him all through the campaign. This is Swift Boat 2.0 right here. This is absolutely going to eat him. It's going to be on his heels all the way to November. TBA says, well, he is a communist. Of course he lies through his teeth. Okay, that may be true. TBA also says, Walz will be swift-boated by Friday, Monday at the latest. Brother, you may be right. Now, like I said, whether it gets him off the ticket or not, I rather doubt it. I rather doubt that it would. Because she's picked him. If she got... Could you imagine how bad this gets for her if she pulls him off the ticket now? I mean, really, think about that for a minute. Let's just assume for a second. WWG1 over on Rumble says, prediction, if this does get him off the ticket, they'll choose someone even more transparently traitorous. You're probably right, but who do you go? Do you go get Buttigieg? Do you go back to Andy Bashir? Do you go to Roy Cooper? And here's an even better question, which people far smarter and more connected than me have been asking. How many of those guys turned her down? Oh, sure, Kamala, I'd love to be on the ticket with you. And they thought about it, and like Rich Barris said today, they thought about it for about a week, said, not so sure I want to do this. Rich may be on to something. Rich Barris said that on his live stream today. He may be on to something, but he's not the only one saying it. A lot of people have been hearing that she went around trying to get people to be the Veep with her, and they just weren't interested. Now, I want to address something. I want to address something that up in Connecticut just brought up, and I was going to save this for a little bit, but we may as well just get into it right now. Let me find it here. From the inestimable Jack Posobiec. Breaking. Team Kamala was informed of the stolen valor letter about Walz a week and a half ago. They brushed it off per my White House contact. Lots of I told you so from Team Biden going around, and I'm not surprised by that at all. Look, if rumors and reports are to be believed, okay, Biden was pushing for Josh Shapiro. Now, say what you want to about Joe Biden, and God knows I have since I've been on this social media channel of mine, but in his moments of lucidity, Joe is pretty good at understanding retail politics. Okay, he can be a pretty good campaigner. He knows who will connect with somebody and who won't. Again, if you believe the sources, supposedly Biden was trying to warn Kamala, look, do not underestimate J.D. Vance in the Midwest. You need somebody that can offset that advantage. You better go take Shapiro. Well, the smart people in the Democrat Party who weren't named Joe Biden thought it'd be a real good idea to put somebody with a stolen valor issue on the ticket because it's not going to make any difference. The voters aren't going to care. Oh yeah, you tell that to the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine vets. Yeah, you keep showing them this and watch what the hell happens that they don't care. I am telling you, we have got John Kerry 2.0 on our hands here. When this thing truly gets around, it's going to take a little bit of time. I mean, I think TBA is right. It might take till Friday, Monday at the latest. Will it get him off the ticket? I don't know. Is it going to absolutely ruin this guy? Probably. It will absolutely dog him all the way to November. All right. Some other things of note about this whole stolen valor controversy. Okay. Let me show you guys something. Again, this is compliments of Gypsy. Do you see this hat that he's wearing? And there's a seal in the middle of it. Okay. Now, again, here it is. Now, to look at that, you might be like, well, what's the big deal? He's wearing a hat with a seal in the middle of it. That seal is indicative of how often a crest that even though your National Guard was zero deployment, you never went to SFAS or the Q course, by all accounts, you never, apparently the only reason or the only time that you're allowed to wear that seal is if you have served overseas and you've been in combat. This guy's walking around wearing that thing with no thought or respect to anybody else. Now, don't get me wrong. I have profound respect for the United States military, and even more so for their traditions. Did I know about this particular tradition? No, I didn't. To be perfectly honest with you, I didn't. But if the tradition is you don't get to display this seal unless you have met the qualifications for it, which apparently is you had to have been deployed overseas, you had to have been in battle. Veterans and as veterans are finding out about this, and when they see this stuff, I'm telling you, this is going to tick them off. Who was it? I think it was M169. Let me find your comment, darling. Yeah, this guy is absolutely unrelatable. Yeah, here it is. Tell me. And again, I'm trying to be totally fair with this. I really am. But how is this guy, the more you find out about him, how is he relatable? What Midwestern person, man or a woman, okay, unless, of course, they are a rabid partisan Democrat, okay, and they absolutely hate Trump's living guts. But if they're even close to being open-minded, how are they going to look at this guy and say, well, yeah, I feel so much better about the Democrat ticket. I think I'm going to vote for Kamala. It's just unbelievable with this guy. And I'm going to go, I will drop this in chat. This is a story from the New York Post about the whole thing, as opposed to, because we're getting on to 9:30 in the night, and bless y'all's hearts, I know you've got lives that you need to get back to, so I will do my best to move this along. But I'm telling you right now, this story is just unbelievable. Matter of fact, I'll do you one more better than that. I've got a link to a 5-minute video. I will drop that in chat on both sides. You really think so? You really think so? Now, let me put her comment up here. And I'm not saying you're wrong, dear. You got fantastic instincts. But you really think he was put on the ticket to sink her? Again, I'm not saying you're wrong, but that's a pretty bold statement. Would Barack Obama be that ruthless that he would try to get her out of the way? It's one thing for him not to think she can win. It's another thing for him to go out and just absolutely okay, we're going to torpedo this bitch. She got to go. The cackle queen has got to go. She got to go. There is a lot here, folks. Again, I'll drop some more links in chat. Stuff related to this stolen valor issue that you guys need to see. Really? Oh, God. Like I say, you might be right. You might be absolutely right. It's not like this stuff hasn't, Let me think. There is one case in recent political history, and when I say recent, it's in the past 50 years, and it was interestingly, it was 1972. George McGovern had secured the Democrat nomination, and he had his original running mate, as I recall this, was Thomas Eagleton. Matter of fact, hang on a second. I gotta look for something real fast here. Hang on. My eyes are starting to bother me. Give me 1 second, folks. Like I say, there's only one case that I can actually remember where. There it is. Yep. That's what I thought. Now I remember. Okay. There was one case in recent political history where a vice presidential nominee withdrew before he was formally put on the ticket. Okay. And that was Senator Thomas Eagleton of Missouri. Okay. And how it happened that he had to get off the ticket is that there were stories that started to break about him very early, around or at or near the time of the convention, having to do with his mental health. Hang on a minute, because I got to remember exactly how this went. Now I remember. Okay, I had to do a quick Wikipedia search. He was nominated by the 72 Democrat National Convention. Following the convention, it was revealed that Eagleton had been treated for depression in the 1960s. Though McGovern considered keeping Eagleton on the ticket, he ultimately chose to replace Eagleton with former Ambassador Sergeant Shriver. That's right. Okay, now I remember. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, it's possible. It's possible. TBA says, Brian, I think you need to check your assumptions about all this political stuff. You're ignoring the elephant in the room. Perhaps there is a plan to expose the traitors in government. Could be. You might be absolutely right. You might be. Oh, well, okay. Oh, the Breck girl? Jonathan Edwards. John Edwards in North Carolina, the Breck girl. I remember. Well, but he wasn't replaced off the ticket. When John Kerry picked him, he didn't get thrown off the ticket. He wound up getting sunk for 2008, but no, he didn't get thrown off the ticket. Eagleton, on the other hand, had been nominated at the convention and had to leave the race. And the Democrats replaced him with Sergeant Shriver in 1972. Oh, kids, this is getting really interesting. Really, really interesting. I'll tell you what. I ain't never seen nothing like this. This is just straight crazy. Now, how is Tim Walz handling all this, particularly the stolen valor questions that he's getting from the press? Well, let me show you something. All right, so they are at an appearance, they being Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in Eau Claire, Wisconsin today. And this did not go well.
Governor, the fans accuse you of stolen valor. Your response. Governor.
The press is trying to ask him about this, and he's having none of it. That is correct. The DNC is not until the 19th. So, Lord, anything could happen at this point. This story is just straight crazy. Just straight crazy. Oh gosh. Yeah, this is going to get bad. This is absolutely going to get bad. And that's just, like I said, that's just a 52-year-old guy like me pulling up stuff off of Twitter and looking stuff over and be like, okay, what do you guys think? I mean, if I can find this stuff, if other people can find this stuff and post it, you don't think that this is not going to get around? I mean, really? This is, I mean, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be, oh Lord, this is going to get bad. And I thought it was all the other stuff that was going to do him in. No, it might very well be. It might very well be that, like I say, I don't know if this stolen valor is going to get him off the ticket, but daggone, it would not surprise me at all if this stuff really, really haunts him all the way to November. I'm not kidding, kids. I'm really not. No, I did not. I did not see this. Did not see this. That should be interesting. That should be real interesting. Oh, TBA, you're right. It's going to be a really fun August, dude. It's going to be a real fun August. Lots of laughs for us in the podcast universe. Boy, you ain't kidding there. You are not kidding. All right, real quick commercial. We'll move on. It is 9:40 Eastern Standard Time here on the East Coast. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. This live stream is known as Chattin on the Porch. If you're not subscribed to my channels on Rumble and YouTube, please do me a favor. This old boy is doing his dead level best to take this going little concern of a channel and make it going big concern. Please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe to me on Rumble. Subscribe to me on YouTube. Hit the bell for notification. Hit the thumbs up. And share the link around. We'd really appreciate it. All right. You know, I've often mentioned my buddy Smiling Jack. And Smiling Jack and I usually talk about once or twice a day. Matter of fact, after this live stream, I got to call him back tonight because I kind of cut him short this evening getting ready for this live stream of mine. And Smiling Jack is of the opinion, and that's another thing. I got to get him on this channel sometime for the heck of it. If you really want to see a show between, you know, Waldorf and what's the other guy from the Muppets up in the balcony? Waldorf and the other guy. Anyway, you want to see like those two guys from the Muppets up in the balcony? That's pretty much me and Smiling Jack. Okay. And we were having our normal daily conversations we're prone to do, and Smiling Jack is of the opinion that the love affair with Kamala is quickly wearing off. Okay. He may be right, but while the love affair is still going, the press is making statements showing themselves to be absolutely ridiculous. With that, I take you to thehill.com, and we have the following headline for this op-ed piece. Trump has never had to face someone with Kamala Harris's raw talent. By John Kenneth White. He is a opinion contributor to thehill.com. We have the following. Following President Biden's dramatic exit from the presidential race, Kamala Harris has not only seized the presidential baton, but taken command of the 2024 campaign. Beginning with her first appearance at Biden's Wilmington, Delaware headquarters, Harris went on the attack. Recapping her career, the vice president described prosecuting, quote, predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. With a rhetorical flourish, Harris added his sharp retort, so hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. After Trump reneged on a scheduled ABC News debate in September, Harris deadpanned that while Trump had plenty to say about her, she issued another devastating response that immediately went viral. Quote, well, Donald, I hope you'll reconsider meeting me on the debate stage because, as the saying goes, if you got something to say it to my face. Before she could finish, a raucous crowd was already chanting the punchline. With each appearance, Kamala Harris is setting the terms for what will follow over the next 3 months. Knowing that successful candidates focus on the voters and their futures, a staple of Harris's stump speech is this call and response line, "We're not going back." Harris's politically savvy did not develop overnight. Well, I'd argue it has never developed at all. In 2019, she was a tentative candidate, unsure of herself, despite an impressive rollout. God. Anyway, she ended her presidential campaign by year's end before a single vote had been cast. But during her 4 years as vice president, Harris has honed her political skills. After the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, she went on the offensive with yet another devastating reply to the court's majority. How dare they? In the many town halls and forums that followed, one sensed her growing self-confidence. Okay, I am not going to bother reading the rest of this for the sake of time, but I think you begin to see where this guy is going. And if I had to sum up his argument, it's basically that she's the queen of the zinger, which I don't believe that for 1 second at this point. I mean, what? You can cut somebody down and that somehow makes you, the better person? WWG1 says, I'm sorry, I'm back now. I was just throwing up. Exactly. It just, yeah. Okay, this is untoward. This is just so untoward. Oh, my word. Small time. Seriously? Come on now. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, you begin to see where this is going. Okay. However, the raw talent. Let's see. Raw talent. He took on Hillary Clinton. No, wait, let me back that up further. He took on 16 high-profile, experienced, savvy Republican politicians consisting of senators, congressmen, former senators, etc. Whipped all of them for the nomination. He then went on to beat Hillary Clinton, arguably the most powerful Democrat politician in the country at the time, outside of Barack Obama. Had a successful presidency for 4 years, having never served once in elected office. And Donald Trump doesn't know how to handle her raw political talent. Okay. Yeah, and this is a good point. If Joe Biden is not blackmailed into getting out of the race, which, by the way, according to rumors, he's having serious regret about that decision. But if Joe Biden stays in the race, Donald Trump would have beat him like a drum. And that's not me saying that. That's the way the polls were trending. Okay? But there's just one problem with the way that the Democrats have done this. Much like Tim Walz, they've left her open for a lot of problems. And I take you to commentary by the very experienced reporter Mark Halperin. Folks, there's a big worry inside the Democrat machinery, and it goes something like this.
Something I've made here repeatedly is people assume that if you've run for statewide office and won, particularly in a competitive state, if you've been a senator or a vice president, that you've been vetted at a level sufficient that there are no more surprises coming. We saw over the weekend that that's not true regarding the vice president and her husband. And one big question in this race now is there more information about her coming out? There's deep concern at some high levels of the Democratic Party that there will be. And there could be enormous implications for that. And we'll talk about that. First, I want to talk about.
Okay, you hear what he's saying? Even the Democrats are scared to death that she's got problems. Okay? Folks, I am telling you, this thing is far from settled. Look, she might be the nominee of the Democrat Party. Okay? And I'm not saying she's not going to be the nominee come 2 weeks from now. I mean, they've already voted her in, by virtual convention. over the previous weekend. But Halpern's right. She just stepped into this race. Now, everybody might be thinking, well, she's vice president. We've got 4 years of knowing what her record is. Guys, his point is valid. Just because she's been vice president for 4 years, a senator, an attorney general of California, there is stuff in her record that has not come out yet. WWG1, going back to Timala Walz, says Timala was vetted. For one reason or another, they thought his pass was okay. Now the question is why. I mean, look, you and Gypsy might be onto something here. You might be onto something. I mean, we'll see what happens. But I'm telling you right now, either the Democrats don't understand the electorate, which I could make a pretty good argument they don't, or they just don't care, or they're so lazy they never looked this stuff up. And they thought, well, we'll just put her in as the nominee, we'll put him in as the VP, we'll be fine. You know, or as the critical drinker is fond of saying, nah, it'll be fine. Doing my best drunken Scott impersonation. Oh, by the way, speaking of the vice president, did you guys see the power move that J.D. Vance pulled off today? Did you guys see this? No, it wasn't Irish. It was an attempted drunken Scotsman, WWG1. All right, it was all a little bit of the above. Well, you might be right. You might be right, dear. I still love you. WWG1, I still love you too. Well, in your case, it's more like, all right. I'm just messing with you. But did you see the power move that J.D. Vance pulled off today? I tell you what. I forget who it was who said it on social media, but I think the old boy's hitting his stride. Okay? For those of you who have not seen this yet, this is great. Now, this runs about a minute and a half. But what he does here is just great. Folks, if you haven't seen this, enjoy. Well, there we go. So off to your left, here comes a group of people led by the vice president. Well, I should say, Vice Presidential candidate J.D. Vance. He's walking up with the Secret Service detail.
I figured I'd come by and wanted to see a good look at the plane, because hopefully it's going to be my plane in a few months. But
did you guys catch that? I wanted to come by and get a good look at the plane because I might be riding in it somewhere in the next few months. Oh, I agree with you. This takes some stones. What this old boy did today takes some serious stones. I agree with you, dear. Anyway, let's get back to the clip because the rest of this is great.
I also thought you guys might get lonely because the vice president doesn't answer questions from reporters and hasn't for 17 days. Have they given you guys an explanation for why she won't take questions from reporters? No? Nobody? Okay, great. Well, I hope that you change your mind because it'd be good for the American people, and I think it'd be good for you all if she actually ran a real campaign instead of one from a basement with a teleprompter. So have a good one, guys. See ya. What would you like to hear from her? Instead of answering questions, I'd love her to just answer what she wants to do and also explain why every single position she has changed. She pretends to be a prosecutor, yet she pretends to be a...
Now, you see what he just did there? He starts to walk off, and the guy yells after him, well, what do you want her to do? That response is exactly what J.D. Vance was going for, because it gives him the excuse to turn right back around and keep it going.
Tough on crime prosecutor, and yet here she is wanting to keep on the police. She's the border czar, yet she's opened up the American southern border. This is a person who has to answer the questions from the media, and it's disgraceful that she runs for you guys. It's also insulting to the American people. But anyway, we're going to go do our event. I appreciate you guys being here. I wish she paid you some more attention. See ya.
And as he's saying all that, unless I'm mistaken, that looks like her caravan of cars pulling up beside Air Force Two. That's great. That is absolutely great. Hang on a minute. Let me start this where it should. Dr. Scott Jensen had a great 10-minute up today. He's a lifelong Minnesota native and ran against Walz in 2022. Yeah, he was the Republican candidate for governor. Let's see. Jensen says Jensen beat Tim Walz in his old congressional district. Okay. Pulls no punches, and Dr. Jensen is a gentleman. Jensen says if there's one thing Walz does not do, it's debate. He refuses all debate, regardless of office or... Ooh, now that could get interesting. Look, I'm going to say something, and maybe I'm being horribly naive, and maybe I am in this modern age of American politics. But sooner or later, this whole thing about her not answering questions from the press and doing these scripted events where she's in front of a teleprompter and not sitting down for some interviews, the American people are going to start noticing this. I mean, look, we're down to less than 90 days to go. She's rolling into the Democrat National Convention. Okay? She can't get away with this forever. Now, don't get me wrong. If George Stephanopoulos does get a hold of her, he'll probably give her a softball interview. But there are some people out there, even in the mainstream media, they could give her a tough interview. Okay? But people are going to start saying, look, you want my vote? You want to be the most powerful person in the world? You want me to help elect you to the presidency? Then you better start telling me what you want to do. You better start answering some questions. Now, like I say, maybe I'm wrong in this modern age of politics, but voters are going to start noticing this. She cannot keep doing this forever. Okay? So I'm just saying, I think JD Vance keeps, if I'm JD, I'd do this every stinking day. Maybe not in this exact form, but I'd keep on doing it. I would. I'd just keep on hitting her with it. Now, by the way, if she's such a raw political talent, then can somebody please explain this to me? From Patrick Basham of the Democracy Institute. Now, if you're not familiar with Patrick is a pollster from overseas, I believe England, as a matter of fact. And there's certain people I listen to when it comes to polling. I mean, obviously, Rich Barris. Y'all know how much I love Rich. But guys like Matt Towery of Insider Advantage, Robert Cahaley of Trafalgar, and others. But whenever I hear that Patrick Basham has dropped a poll, I sit up and pay very close attention. And a lot of there's two reasons primarily. Number one, Patrick is very accurate. I mean, just in the brief time I've been following his work, he seems like he's got a pretty good handle on stuff. Okay? And number two, he's not American. Now, you sit there and ask yourself the question, well, why would a non-American pollster, why would you give him more preference over somebody else who is American? Well, number one, like I said, he's accurate. But number two, he has no dog in this hunt. Okay? I mean, look, in one sense, he's much like Rich Barris. The numbers are the numbers. They are what they are. And the fact that he's not American kind of takes out even more potential bias. He's like, look, I'm just polling the race. Okay? It is what it is. So Patrick Basham has a poll that's come out of the 3 swing states, the 3 wise men, as we lovingly refer to it here. He polled the 3 wise men of the Midwest, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Donald Trump leads Kamala Harris in the 3 key swing states. She's gaining momentum in the race, but new data shows she faces an uphill climb in key battlegrounds. Okay? Here are the results for each of the states. According to Patrick Basham, his polling, Trump has a 3-point lead in Michigan. Okay. In Pennsylvania, he's got a 2-point lead. In Wisconsin, he's got a 4-point lead. Now, it's 90 days to go. Anything can happen. And these are not big leads, okay? But they are one thing, consistent. They're consistent with a lot of other polling that's out there right now, okay? Well, WWG1 says, I saw a statistician say that if two polls asking the same questions are 4 percentage points or more apart, that means people sampled are not random. Someone or someones are lying. Could be the case. TBA says plus or 5% margin error. I agree. I saw that too. I'm just saying this is what Basham's got at the moment. So take it with a grain of salt that comes along with it. Okay. Oh, really? She told off somebody. She told off a Palestinian? Hang on a minute. Hang on. I thought I saw something about this. Well, okay. All right. Hang on a minute. We got a couple of clips here. I mean, if you're gonna tease me with something like that, you know we're gonna play it. Hang on a minute. Let me get this pulled up. I thought I saw another going back to where she snapped off on somebody. Hang on a minute. Oh yeah, all right. Hang on. Okay, we got a couple of clips here. Apparently, Kamala has developed a Detroit accent. All right, well, let's check out what that means exactly. This runs about 15 seconds. And Gypsy, I'm going to have to rely on your ability to understand Michigan linguistics. So, folks, let's take a listen to this Detroit accent. Check it out.
Hold on. You know what? Here, hold on. Here's the thing. The courts are going to handle that. We're going to beat them in November. We'll beat him in November. We'll handle that.
We beat him in November. TBA says, great show, Brian. See you tomorrow. TBA, love you, brother. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. One more clip in that same regard. There's one that goes a minute. Okay. Hang on. I got one here that's 35 seconds. And I think this is where she tells off the Palestinian voter. Hang on a minute. Let me get this one pulled up. All right, let's check this out. Here we go.
Tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Did you see the look in her eyes? Did you see that? Hang on. I'm going to back that up about 10 seconds. Okay? Watch this carefully. Listen.
The Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Look at the look in her eyes. Man, if looks could kill, she'd have taken somebody out right there. She is glaring these people down. I don't know who that was out in the crowd that was heckling her, but I'm telling you right now, oh, kids, it's starting to happen. Remember what I said about Joe Biden? Just after the debate in June, I said that for the next 120 days, they had to keep him perfect. No verbal gaffes, no falling down, no nothing. With Kamala, they've got to keep her away from moments just like that. She snapped off on a person who disagreed with her. Now, look. There are going to be people who disagree with you in life. And there are ways of handling it, and there are ways of handling it. Okay? What she did right there, bad look. Just bad look. That's, oh my goodness indeed. Goodness gracious. That was, ooh, baby. Not good. Not good at all. Ooh, baby. All right. Real quick, we're going to get out of here. Okay. Because it's, Lord bless your hearts, it's 10 o'clock. Some of this I'll save for tomorrow night. The Aiden Ross interview, I got some follow-up information for you guys. You may know about this, you may not, but I think it's definitely worth mentioning. So that interview that Donald Trump did with Aiden Ross, do you know that thing supposedly has gotten like over 100 million views and 100 million hits on social media? That thing has been watched everywhere. Now, here's the irony of it, and I'll put this up, and I think you guys are going to get a kick out of this, because people have been asking the question, well, how did Aiden Ross and Donald Trump get together? I mean, here's a kid. He's probably in his I don't know even how old he is. He's probably like early 20s or something like that. How did this 20-something-year-old kid and an almost 80-year-old presidential candidate get together? Well, Donald Trump provides the answer. Check out this post. Wow, Aiden Ross interview yesterday exploded, but in a very positive way. Platform set an all-time record, by far with over 100 million views and hits. Congratulations to Aiden and his wonderful mother, father, and family, who I had the pleasure to meet. Thank you also to Barron Trump, who for the introduction to your friend Aiden. Young people are the future of America. Those numbers are really big stuff. Holy cow. That's cool. That is, I mean, look, that is genuinely cool. Look, I don't know how much of a hand that Barron Trump had in hooking up his dad and Aiden Ross, but if he got the two of them together and the Trump campaign said, you know what, that's a real good idea. Let's do an interview. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. Benny Johnson today, talking about the numbers off of that interview between Aiden Ross and Donald Trump. Benny Johnson made a really good. He's like, look, let Trump off the chain. Let Trump be Trump. Do more stuff like this. And for the record, I agree with Benny Johnson. I think it's a great idea. You know, I'm not saying apparently he is. Apparently Barron Trump is a gamer. Now, how much of one? I don't know. Maybe they met somewhere. Who knows? I mean, hard to say when you're running in those circles. Who knows how Barron Trump and Aiden Ross came across each other? But like I said, I agree with Benny. Let Donald Trump do more of this kind of stuff. I think it's great. I think it's one of those best things he could have ever done for himself. So yeah, by all means, do it. Great job to everybody. All right, you guys have got to get out of here, and so do I. We will be back tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern. Remember, coming Monday night, we have Dr. Robin McCutcheon coming on the channel for a discussion about matters of economics. We've got tomorrow night is Chattin on the Porch. So please come on back tomorrow night. Thank you guys so much for this live stream. This has been a load of fun. It really has. The energy's been good. You guys are great. And again, thank you so much for your graciousness in the changing around of the schedule. For those of you who may be watching this for the first time, we normally do this at 7:30. But because of various family things going on, I had to switch some of it around. But you guys have been absolutely fantastic. The energy's been good. Thank you for all the Rumble rants, Zippy, and for all the other contributions, links, and sharing of that, etc. So you guys have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7:30. And remember, it's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, more money. So says that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night.